Well, hello, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me. I always wanted to do a video with a Golden Gate Bridge in the background. I finally managed to do that thanks to SAP SuccessFactors, who just finished their Analyst Day over here in San Francisco at the California Museum of Sciences, an interesting setting. They housed us here at the historic Argonaut Hotel, so I'm taking advantage of the San Francisco National Maritime Seaport. I hope I said it correctly. Still a sea boat peeking out on my left here, so always fun of sailing things and maritime things, so great opportunity to do this here. So I'll do a quick recap and then talk about my key takeaways. The important things in my view are it's that SuccessFactors was very clear on their strategy. It's good to see that Mike Ettling is there now since almost 2 years, and the division or the team or whatever SAP calls it these days really works well together, and it's good to see these three, which they shared, three strategic priorities around unmatched depth and breadth across the HCM solutions, working on user experience. We'll talk about that in a second. Very important progress from that perspective. Innovating and disrupting the market with next generation capability. They showed some examples of that, which was good to see. And embed intelligence-driven actions and insight in the applications. Also, there are some first things are coming to fruition. We'll talk about that a little bit. And all of that in the best platform. Delivering integration value, unlimited extensibility. It's good to see the extensibility message, same thing there. And the vibrant partner ecosystem, that's not much of a challenge anyway from SAP perspective. Everybody knows SAP has one of the largest ecosystems in enterprise software out there. Obviously, partners are interested in doing this. The interesting thing is I will talk about, maybe later, maybe we'll get to it, so I say it now, moving these largely on-premise partners to a cloud mindset, to a cloud delivery model, which is fundamentally different to what happens on the premise software. And all of that with Workforce that is all in. I had the chance to ask Mike Ettling about what could be his concerns, and he talked about mainly getting the talent right and getting the right people on board of that, and he shared of getting the mindset change of customers and keeping those customers as his key concern. So very good to see from that perspective. Key investment themes, Yvette Cameron from my analyst, now in charge of strategy for the SuccessFactors division, I hope I'm using the right word here, is to become the best platform, have a better user experience, try to do some market disruption, talk about digital intelligence, do very well integration extensibility, and ultimately ensure customer success. What's not to like about 6 prerogatives like that. Good to see also the push of intelligence, which SuccessFactors wants to see across 4 main areas, which are workforce planning, the workforce analytics area, then the intelligence service, I'll talk about this a little bit in a moment, and then personal recommendations helping people to be more successful with their HCM application. But the biggest thing probably that was shown and shared here, and which SuccessFactors also announced, is that a new user interface is coming. That's very good to see. I always had a bet with the previous head of product management, Dmitry Karkovsky, that he can show me 3 SuccessFactors products, and I will show him 4 different ways how to represent the save button. Well, those times hopefully are over. The new UI looks appealing. I'll put hopefully some screenshots in my blog post, check them out. It's a major step forward, and one of the main criticisms I hear from the SAP install base when I talk to prospects, when they do software selections, when I talk to customers using the software, and equally what partners here and implementers here from that perspective. So that's really good to see. Equally, that some of the intelligence services are coming to fruition and being shown. Something else, also something that was announced last year at Success Connect, so it's good to see that SAP is making good on that promise of doing this. There's doing the math here on the fly, over 35 events now being published. The difference is that what Dmitry Karkovsky then in his keynote described was really something intelligent. It feels more like a basic, not totally fair to call it workflow automation tool, but the exposure of events and then certain actions set on certain events, which is very powerful and very important and also unique from an HCM systems perspective, but is not necessarily intelligent. So that's a high bar. You have to crawl before you can walk. So it'll be interesting to see how SAP SuccessFactors is going to develop that further. It was also good to see we had a short presentation of the most recent acquisition of SuccessFactors, so multi-posting, which puts a job post out in different areas on Aaron Recruiting. The CEO was there and shared how he sees things and how it's being integrated with 3 products, basically the multi-posting product, after which the product is named, the company is named, the multi-search product, and the third, which they're going to offer, is probably against license fee. Didn't have a chance to ask that, to integrate multi-posting into SAP SuccessFactors. So a good addition to the recruiting examples. A lot of time was spent on extensions. It's good to see that there's not the rigid, this is SaaS, it can't be extended, customized, configured, whatever you want to call it, beyond a certain given framework. So there's a number of extensions which have been built. They shared a variety of them around, say, for example, asset management, or vendor management, or tuition reimbursement, right? So it gives great agility to a vendor and flexibility to the customer, because a vendor doesn't have to necessarily build things in their platforms at a committed date. It gives partners an opportunity, as we learned later, from a marketplace perspective, to build things on top of that, and gives customers flexibility, because frankly, often there are some things that customers know, no matter how they lobby, no matter how they build alliances in user groups and focus groups and whatever they're called, they may never get the functionality, because it's very specific to the industry, very specific to their needs. So very good to see that mindset and capability in the SAP SuccessFactors product today. Very interesting from a technical capability perspective to see Adam Kowalewski, hopefully I got the name right, presented about not only what he does in development, but mainly about how SAP operates their cloud solutions. It's good to see that there's progress being made from a location perspective. Probably SuccessFactors is the first vendor who has opened the Russian data centers, at least what I'm aware of right now, and is enabling customers to be compliant with the Russian mandate of storing sensitive customer, employee, and other data locally in Russia. Done with we won't delve into tricks, done with a working solution, maybe not the most elegant solution. The good news is that SuccessFactors is aware of all the slicing and dicing of data happening, and is actively looking into solutions, like are many of the other vendors, but it's a good point to see where things are there right now. So pretty much that's the recap. We heard about services also today. Good to see that there's innovation around enabling customers doing certain things. I like things like enabling customers to help themselves, and more experienced customers helping less experienced customers. It's always something very positive from a practitioner side and from a customer side, and it's good to see SAP SuccessFactors enabling that. Also good to see some things like the introduction of a customer experience executive. There's different names for that. Siebel, I think, invented that for the first time with the TAM, the technical account manager, customer success manager, customer support manager. So many different acronyms in the industry for this very, very crucial role, especially for SaaS, to get customer adoption going. But coming to my takeaways, as we're approaching times which are kind of like even long, for these short little videos, even so it's a great setting. So it's good to see the broad momentum on customers' technology. Adam Kowalewski shared the number of transactions in the system year over year over the last 4 quarters, and each quarter the number of transactions over 100% up, which backs up to a certain point the commercial success that SAP SuccessFactors is seeing, but also shows the back end of that, how much happens on the hosting and running and operational side and the cloud infrastructure for that. The new user interface, I think, will be very widely adopted. It will be good to see at what point, how far SAP can roll that out. Hopefully it's not going to stop as an early part on the high-level portal side. SAP users might remember the lily pads and the on-premises solutions. There's so many solutions in general which start high level and then never make it down to the nitty and gritty where work's being done in enterprise software. So hopefully it's going to go that far. It's going to be well received. Had the chance to speak with Thomas Otter about the payroll side. Payroll is doing well. Over 30 countries are now supported in that cloud-hosted SAP mode to run that. It's being actively used by customers. Good to see that traction. And there's a new differentiator for SAP to a certain point, and a good example of mixing older and newer technology successfully in the market. The intelligent services, very interesting start. A little higher expectations from my side, so we'll have to see what is going to become to bring more intelligence in there. Not so much focus on the predictive analytics side, so SAP SuccessFactors has delivered what they said at Success Connect, learning recommendation and flight risk. I'm saying this by heart right now, can't find my notes. So flight risk and learning recommendations, which both are important. Good to see them delivered, but The good news for SuccessFactors is that the competition has delivered more predictive analytics, but has not necessarily implemented more, because they're marketing everybody to the HR person. The HR people are very, very afraid of predictive analytics because they might take away the unique position to sit on the data for the business. But if you talk to a business user about making their life easier, bring more rational to their decisions, democratizing decisions, and making decisions faster, they're all for it. So sometimes it's good to be late and not make the mistakes which other people might have been doing, or learning on the lessons other people have learned there. What was also very good, we had a hands-on mobile demo, not this time like what other vendors have done, which is always great, on a device which was handed out, but no, this time really on the device of the analysts. For me, it was an Android device. Worked well. It's a good UI. It's a nice UI. Unfortunately, and that's something that should not happen anymore, right? We know that, for instance, Workday got some pressures with that. Everybody gets pressures with that because there's always this US centricity, and the iOS version is better than the Android version. Just today, Google got sued by the EU for manipulating the market. Why Google first, not iOS? Because they have 80% or 75%, depending which market research firm you believe, of the market share. So it's not really a good sign of the global understanding of SuccessFactors to have the Android version lag. So, but that's something which can be addressed. Kudos for giving it in the hands of the analysts. Good UI, as I mentioned before, and it's always a very different experience when you can touch the software, use the software, do things in the software, and have little games of things, because we're all competitive to fill out certain things. So coming to my overall takeaways, my point of view, it's good progress by SuccessFactors, has delivered. It's always good to deliver what was promised back at Success Connect in August of last year. Good innovation on the user experience, managed that. Also, SuccessFactors coming closer to SAP is overall a good trend, because it means better, ultimately, synergies for customers, because the same systems are being used, the same UIs are being used. It's better return for customers because SAP gets better bang for the buck on the R&D side, and SuccessFactors are uptaking HANA. Everything in reporting is running on HANA already. By 2017 is the ambition. Should have happened a long time already. Everything should be on HANA. We will see if SAP manages to get done also on the operational transactional side, but using HANA Cloud Platform as extension framework, partners building extensions for that on HCP is a common synergy on that. Fiori being used, data centers being used, is all very good synergies, which helps as SuccessFactors actually selling into the SAP install base and focusing more on what's more important on HCM functionality than traditional platform questions. Horizontal investment product is the main theme, as we learned from the two new heads of product, Thomas Otter and David Vagonis. Always good to see that you want to see leverage on horizontal functionality, but it also means, having done development for most of my life, for over 25 years, is you always go for that when you're short, or you have to be very frugal with your resources, which is always good to be frugal, but you want to be able to also work on the differentiating pieces and the things which create an attractive reason for customers to use and upgrade to your software. So it's very clear for me right now that SuccessFactors will be doing well in the SAP install base. There's enough attraction, enough SAP DNA, enough synergies with the other offerings of SAP. The SuccessFactors division has probably the most enterprise cloud DNA, which is also seen the fact that Mike Edling and the team there are in charge of bringing the not all in one, the S4HANA part, the cloud deployment of S4HANA to market this year, which is a good thing to see. Hopefully not a distraction to the SuccessFactors business, but shows that many of the best practice from the enterprise side, I mean, there's of course Concur and other areas which do cloud too, but from an enterprise understanding, there's significant trust from the SAP board in that division, and that's good to see. So they've created enough benefits, in my view, for the SAP install base to definitely look at SuccessFactors and use SuccessFactors, probably maybe even in no-bid situations, as their core cloud solution going forward. But long-term, it's all about market share in this market, and SAP, in my view, SuccessFactors has to work a little more on providing compelling reasons for non-SAP backend customers to adopt their solution. But that's the next thing after the first thing. So Rome wasn't built one day, as we all know. Otherwise, as the joke was that Boston Dickey would have hired the contractors. So good progress by SuccessFactors. Needs to work a little more on differentiators, some good ideas on the differentiators, but they have to come into the software to really get value from the install base. Well, that concludes my broadcast here. Always keep my fingers crossed that the audio was good enough. As usual, way too long. Thanks for joining me. appreciate it. See and speak to you soon. Bye-bye.